episode 5. My name is Anna Marika Gerritsen. Call me AMG. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about specific nutrients for your immune system. And we're going to talk about what foods to eat to make sure that your immune system improves. As we talked about last week, your immune system is a little bit out of whack. And that causes major inflammation in your whole body. And we want to reduce that inflammation so that the endometriosis tissue cannot adhere and grow outside your uterus. So the focus with everything we do when we look at nutrition is to reduce that inflammation. And there are a few specific foods and nutrients that you should eat so that your immune system starts to function better. So I want to talk you through those. And then next week, we're going to talk about a very special nutrient that I'll tell you a little bit more about at the end of this video. So the first nutrient that you should get a lot of is zinc. And you probably know zinc is really great for when you have a cold or the flu, because it's an antiviral. It acts like what we call a cofactor in your immune processes. So it kind of assists your immune system to do a proper job. And it's also an antioxidant in itself. So it is a nutrient that is able to remove free radicals from your body. And those free radicals are free-flowing electrons, and they do lots of damage. So foods to eat that contain a lot of zinc are pumpkin and sunflower seeds. So I suggest you start nibbling on those. Egg yolks. So I have a couple of eggs for breakfast. Seafood, oysters, and beef. So those are some foods to look at to eat more of. A second nutrient that is really important, and there's two of it, is vitamin A. And the natural form, which is found in food, is beta carotene. Now, vitamin A, it's important to, I prefer when not taking a supplement as such, because you can overdose on vitamin A. Whereas if you eat beta carotene, so you try to get it through food, your body will turn the beta carotene in food into vitamin A in just the right amounts that it needs. So if you need a lot of vitamin A, it will convert a lot more. But if you're almost at good levels, then you will not convert as much of the food into vitamin A. So your body's quite good at managing that balance. Whereas if you take supplements, you just add more vitamin A. And a vitamin A overdose is actually not very good for you. But if you have a deficiency in vitamin A, your immune cells don't function very well. And it also very important is that it affects the health of mucous membranes. And those mucous membranes are key defense against any pathogen. So we're looking at in your mouth, but also in your gut. And when those mucous membranes are not functioning well, then whatever happens there, and we'll talk more about leaky gut in a couple of weeks, but then your immune system, it happens in those mucous membranes, cannot fight off pathogens. And if you found that you seem to get every cold and flu that comes around, or it takes you longer than other people to get rid of it, the lack of or the damaged mucous membranes might well have something to do with it. Now, beta carotene is also an antioxidant in itself, which becomes very active during the immune system's response to infection. And with your constant inflammation, it's almost like there is your immune system acts as if there is a constant inflammation. So you can really benefit from beta carotene there. So foods to think about are carrots, broccoli, red capsicum, papayas, and sweet potatoes. They're very high in beta carotene. And some foods contain straight vitamin A, which is in kohlrabi, egg yolks, carrots, apricots, and fish liver oils like cod liver oil. So be careful with the foods with vitamin A. In fact, if you eat too much of those, you can actually get a bit of a yellowish tinge, which means you have a bit too much vitamin A. But if you are found to be deficient in vitamin A, especially cod liver oil can be very helpful to get you at least up to a good level. But make sure you keep eating foods that are higher beta carotene. A third nutrient that we all know is good for the immune system, because as soon as we've got a cold, we grab this one, is vitamin C. It's very actively involved in the immune system as an antioxidant. It stimulates the immune response. It helps to fight off infection. It's an allergic, so it also kicks in when it can help when you have an allergic reaction. So it's very helpful if you've got hay fever or something. And it also increases the activity of white blood cells. So foods to think about to eat that are high in vitamin C are mango, although that's not really it's not the time of the year for mango. Guava, I think that's also not quite the time of the year, but strawberries, black currants, sweet potatoes, pawpaw, pineapple, and kiwi. And interestingly enough, what's not there is citrus fruits. They contain vitamin C, but they're actually not, compared to the ones that I just mentioned, they're not that high in vitamin C. But don't stop eating them if you like those fruits, unless you're histamine intolerant. And we'll talk about that in some upcoming episode. So that's vitamin C. Another nutrient for you to really consider upping in your diet is are essential fatty acids, or omega-3 fatty acids. Because inflammation is at the core of endometriosis, any nutrient that has powerful anti-inflammatory action should be eaten more of. And we know there's a lot of research that shows that omega-3 fatty acids as fish oil and in fatty fish like salmon, tuna, mackerel, rainbow trout, they really help keep your immune cells undamaged and function properly. And because yours are already a little bit out of whack, it's so important to make sure that those immune cells stay undamaged and are allowed to function properly. If you're not a major fish eater and you choose to have a fish oil supplement, make sure that you have one that has EPA and DHA in it, so you can see on the label, and it should be almost like a 2-to-1 ratio, so double the amount of EPA as DHA, if that makes sense. So have a look. But it's important that you that both of them are in there. They're different, but they both are needed. Then it's important that you need to increase the amount of antioxidants in your diet. So antioxidants, I call them the policemen of the nutrient world. What they do is when you have free radicals in your body, so when you have lots of inflammation, there are free electrons running around in your body that are not attached to anything. And I liken them to youth gangs, right? They're running around, they're damaging property, they're damaging parts of your body, and antioxidants are the policemen with the handcuffs that can go, gotcha, and they can remove those free radicals from your body. So, which is very important because free radicals are a key element in inflammation. So some key antioxidants are vitamin E, which you can find in almonds, egg yolks, hazelnuts, and corn. Selenium, which you can find in Brazil nuts, alfalfa, meat, eggs, onion, garlic, broccoli. Acetyl L-carnitine, found in avocados, beef, chicken, and fish. And alpha lipoic acid, which is in broccoli, potatoes, spinach, and tomatoes. So looking at the nutrients and the foods that I just mentioned, there are certain foods that are really high in those nutrients that support the immune system that you should probably look at eating almost every day. Sweet potatoes, eggs, and especially the yolks. So start having eggs for breakfast. Carrots, fatty fish like salmon, tuna, mackerel, rainbow trout, pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds. Start nibbling on those. Almonds and Brazil nuts, and broccoli. Of course, there's many other foods that I suggest you just eat a lot of, but make sure that those are included in your diet a lot because they contain very powerful nutrients to help your immune system. There's one more nutrient that I want to talk to you about to help your immune system. It's called a vitamin, but it's actually not a vitamin. It's a hormone, and that's vitamin D. Now, vitamin D is an important part for bone growth because it can move calcium out of the blood to the bones, but it also helps to regulate the immune system. And remember, last week I talked about how your immune system has cells that are not necessarily effective, and some are overreactive, but not really, your immune system overreacts. And so you need something to calm it down. And vitamin D plays a very important role in that whole process. Because what it does, it helps to calm down the growth of T and B cells, which I talked about last week. It also reduces the production of inflammatory cytokines, and it increases the production of anti-inflammatory cytokines. So those are cytokines are cells involved in the immune system. And so it regulates the production of those two. So how do you get the right level of vitamin D? Because quite interestingly, Australians are very vitamin D deficient. And the best way for your body to get the right amounts of vitamin D is simply by going in the sun with unprotected skin. You could take supplements, but because you have, in all likelihood, a leaky gut, which we'll talk about in a couple of weeks, you don't absorb nutrients very well. So you won't absorb the vitamin D that you take in a supplement. And your body is excellent at taking this ultraviolet sunlight that hits your skin and turning it into a pre-vitamin in your skin. Then the body heat will turn it into something that can be transported via your bloodstream to the liver. The liver then turns it into another form of pre-vitamin D, which goes to the kidneys, and then active vitamin D is produced. It's a big process, but the process works really well if you get it through ultraviolet light hitting your skin. And so 10 to 20 minutes a day in the sun is really, really important, especially for you, because you might well be vitamin D deficient. So I hope that you have, with these current times of being, just stuck at home, and I hope you have an opportunity to go outside, either in your garden or on a balcony, or go for a walk around the block or to a park, or to get outside in the sun. And 10 to 20 minutes a day, if you use sunscreen, you'll need more. You need longer. So at least half an hour, maybe even 45 minutes. But you do need to get more vitamin D because it really regulates your immune system. And if you do take vitamin D with supplements is always makes it harder to dose correctly. And if you can get an overdose or too much vitamin D, which creates too high levels of calcium in the blood, which can lead to kidney stones. So we don't want to do that. And also, I'm really concerned about you just not absorbing enough vitamin D because your gut is not working as it should, which we'll talk about soon. So really, sunshine is the way to go. Just take it as your little, your moment of nurturing your immune system. And at the same time, have a lovely drink, sit there and enjoy and relax. Once we go back to normal, if you do want to make sure whether your vitamin D, it could be an idea to get tested. You can go to your GP for a blood test, or if you would like to go straight to a lab, I can help you with a referral form if you need to. So that's it. Make sure you get those foods in your diet: sweet potatoes, eggs, especially yolks, carrots, fatty fish at least 2 or 3 times a week, pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds, almonds and Brazil nuts, and broccoli, in addition to, of course, any other foods that are fresh and just whole foods. But these ones are particularly important to have for your immune system, because if we can improve your immune system, your inflammation will go down, which makes it much harder for your endometrial tissue to find places to settle and grow outside your uterus, and that's what we're going for. So next week, we're going to talk about something that I can't pronounce, so I'm not going to give it a try. But it's a really interesting nutrient, and I want you to know about it. Because for some of you, this could well be a very powerful weapon in the fight against inflammation and your endometriosis. I will write the name down and I will pronounce it once, because I have to read it and try and read it almost syllable by syllable, because it's a horrible name, because but it has a shortened version which we'll use afterwards. That's what we're going to talk about next week. And then after that, so the week after that, we'll start to look at leaky gut, because all my clients so far have had leaky gut. So we'll talk about that then. So thank you very much. See you next week. And that's it for today's episode. Have a great day. Go out in the sun.